There is a moment when a room feels too close, not loud, just tight. Like the air has been used already. You notice it in your chest first. A slight pull back, not fear. More like instinct. Nothing has happened yet, no argument, no disappointment, just the sense that staying would cost something, so you step away. Not physically at first, inside. And the quiet that follows doesn't feel lonely, it feels safer, but that's not the part most people notice. What they see is distance, less replying, more space. A soft fading, they think it means coldness or avoidance or strength. There's something quieter happening underneath because the distance doesn't come from not caring. It comes from caring too deeply for too long. You can feel when someone's mood shifts before they speak. You sense the weight behind a laugh. You register disappointment that hasn't been named yet. Your body adjusts before your mind understands why. You learn to stay alert, to read the room, to soften yourself so others don't have to. At first, this feels like connection, like closeness. Later, it starts to feel like work. But that realization doesn't arrive all at once. It comes in fragments. A tired feeling after conversations that weren't heavy. A need to be alone after moments that were supposed to be planned. A strange relief when plans get canceled. You don't question it at first. You assume it's just how life feels, but something keeps pulling you back into yourself, not withdrawal, preservation. Still, that word feels too strong, too intentional, because most of the time the distance isn't chosen. It happens, like exhaling without noticing you were holding your breath. People assume closeness is always the goal, that safety lives in being understood. That intimacy heals. But there's another truth running quietly alongside that one. Sometimes closeness means being permeable, open, available, and not everyone can afford that all the time. There's a fatigue that doesn't show on the surface. A kind of emotional saturation. You carry more than what's yours, not on purpose, not heroically, it just sticks. Other people's tension lingers in your body. Their expectations hover even after they leave. Their needs echo longer than their words. You don't complain about it. You adapt. You learn how to listen better, how to respond carefully, how to stay attuned. And slowly, without anyone noticing, your nervous system stays on, always slightly alert, always prepared. Distance becomes the only place where that switch turns off. But that's not the part most people see. They see withdrawal. They see walls. They don't see the way your shoulders drop when you're alone, the way your breathing slows, the way your thoughts finally stop circling other people. They don't see how silence isn't empty for you. It's full of room. You don't miss people when you step back. You miss yourself. And that's confusing because you care deeply, consistently. You remember details others forget. You feel shifts others ignore. So why does distance feel like relief instead of loss? That question lingers longer than most. You try to stay present, to lean in, to be available the way people expect closeness to look, but something inside resists, not loudly, just enough to matter. You start choosing fewer interactions, shorter conversations, more space between responses. You don't announce it, you don't justify it, you simply feel better this way. And that unsettles you because it contradicts what you've been told about connection. That's where it starts to change. You begin noticing that distance doesn't numb you. It sharpens you. Your emotions become clearer when they aren't tangled with everyone else's. Your thoughts feel like your own again. You laugh more easily when no one is watching. You feel more present when you're not absorbing. There's something honest about that. But honesty can feel dangerous when it goes against expectations. People ask if you're okay. If something's wrong, you don't know how to answer. Because nothing is wrong, nothing happened. You're just quieter now, more selective. And that selectiveness isn't about control, it's about capacity. This is the part that rarely gets named. Some people experience closeness as stimulation. Others experience it as exposure. For you, being emotionally open means being open-ended. It means there's no clear boundary where others stop and you begin. Distance restores that boundary. Not as a wall, as a shape. It gives your inner world edges again. You can feel where you end. That's the relief. And once you notice it, it's hard to ignore. You realize how often you've adjusted yourself to maintain harmony. How often you've softened reactions. How often you've stayed longer than your body wanted to. Not because you were weak, because you were receptive. That sensitivity made connection possible. It also made overload invisible. So distance becomes the language your body uses when words would come too late. It's not rejection, it's regulation. But that understanding doesn't arrive cleanly. It comes with guilt, with second guessing, with the fear of becoming distant in a way that can't be undone. You wonder if you're losing something essential, but then you notice how you feel when you don't push yourself back into closeness too soon. Steadier, clearer, less braced. That's when the insight settles, not as a realization, but as a remembering. You were never meant to be constantly open. You were meant to be responsive. And responsiveness requires space. Distance isn't where you disappear, it's where you return. You don't use it to punish or protect against others. You use it to hear yourself again. That's why it feels safe. Because safety for you isn't found in intensity, it's found in containment. In knowing you can step back without losing yourself, and once that becomes clear, the shame loosens. You stop explaining you're quiet. You stop apologizing for space, not because you've hardened, but because you've learned what happens when you don't listen to that pull. Exhaustion, resentment, a dulling of something delicate inside you. Distance keeps that from happening. It's not permanent, it's rhythmic. You move in when there's room, you step back when there isn't. That balance doesn't always make sense to others, but it makes sense to your body. In the end, distance doesn't mean you feel less. It means you feel enough to know when you've reached your limit. And honoring that limit isn't cold, it's quiet respect for yourself, for others. Because when you return from that space, you return intact, present, clear. And that kind of presence can only come from knowing when to step away.